Welcome to the Sci-Fi Express Lane. Jeff Carroll here. Today, a writer, science fiction writer, filmmaker, comic book guy. All right, so those are my titles. Anyway, I had two little topic things that came to me kind of at once, right? Or at similar times. I was looking at books online. John Jennings has been posting books and movies since the beginning of the year, and it's made me think, about kind of my book that I have, my collection of short stories, which is actually finished. It's just that I have to format it and upload it to Amazon, and self-published writers, we got to do all of that. The book is called Why I Love Sci-Fi, and my son, at the same time I was thinking about that book, made a comment. I don't know where it came from, but it was kind of out of the blue, but it was cool. And one of my friends, shout out to Stanley Smith, said he's going to be reading my book, Thug Angel. And I think I might have told my son that. And my son was like, he's starting a new job. His job is at corporate America, right? He's a high valued man now. And he was looking at my titles and was like, yo, I can't bring Thug Angel, to the workplace. I said, what about Harlem Shake? He said, I don't know about that. And my other title is Rashida the Zombie Killer. The other one is Welcome to Boss Lady's Planet. And at the time I wrote those books, I was definitely trying to break into a hybrid genre of urban fiction and science fiction, no doubt. My first book is called Gold Digger Killer, and it's named after my second movie. And I wanted to go with that because I see the masses of black people, into urban fiction. It's the biggest subgenre for black people. It started the 2000s off with bangs. And I was like, yo, we just need some sci-fi writers up in here. So that was my business model. And now looking at corporate America, I don't hate on his point, even though he's like my biggest hater, right? And I say that affectionately because we need haters. But I was wondering, and when I put the two together with the books that John Jennings was posting, and they were, they're not the books that he was posting only, but the movies, they weren't all exclusively black. And they weren't all exclusively highbrow sci-fi. You know what I'm saying? And, wow, this lens is real dirty. They weren't all highbrow sci-fi. And I was thinking about my stories, and I was like, that's what I write. I was even thinking about my comic books. Of course, comic books are a different machine. You're not going to find a mature Iron Man or a mature Spider-Man or mature Superman. Even the graphic novels, really you got to reach to find some stuff in there. But I was like, yo, what about science fiction? And science fiction to me is I'm a civil rights person. I'm a social activist, social engineer at heart. So even though I write science fiction, I'm wondering what the impact is on the world, right? Impact on black people, impact on white people. What's going on in addition to writing my stories? And because of that, I wonder, is that why I write what would be called low sci-fi, what some people might call silly sci-fi, right? And why do I write it? Because I also feel that there's a looseness that low Sci-Fi presents. And when I say, like, high sci-fi is Alice in Wonderland, cats talking to people, stuff that is not, that's like fantasy, right? Low sci-fi is fundamental sci-fi, simple to understand. Star Wars, we're not, space fantasy, we're not going to explain everything. Then I don't know what the term for stuff like 2001, Gravity, Ad Astra, in Interstellar, those type of sci-fis where it is really, not that it's realistic, but it is really, what do you call it? Scientific. The science is high. And I know I'm mixing it up. I know there's something, maybe that's called, fantasy, and this is called high sci-fi, and I write low sci-fi. Either way, I feel that there's a thing that I want to write on my board when I go to school today, and that is, if you dream it, you can achieve it, right? And what am I saying with that? The whole thing is, I want to put ideas out into the universe, and I want to make people think about the possibility of that, whatever it is that I put out, and then do something with it, right? My book, The Harlem Shake, right, is one of my, it's the one that if I go back to, when I go back to writing, I got to write book 4, 5, 6, and I'm supposed to go all the way to 8. But when I wrote that book, I wanted to have impact on people and their taking of the post-apocalyptic possibility more serious, and not being black and brown people who, I don't want to make people paranoid and become some paranoid, bunker builder, but I want them to sort of prepare a little bit for natural disasters, right? And not just walk into them blind. I wrote the book in 2016, and this was 4 years before COVID. And I finished the third book right before COVID started. So COVID really didn't have any impact on the Harlem Shake. But I was ready. I was in February before things locked down, 2020. Army-Navy supply store was going out of business, and I'm walking around looking at, oh shoot, I should get a gas mask. Turned out a month later, that would have been an amazing investment, but that was because I was reading prepper books, survivalist magazines, and things like that, and reading up on the National African American Gun Association and their conventions, the overnight melanated overnight group that they have. And I was thinking about that, and I wanted to connect all these dots, so I was ready for it. So I've always seen, and mind you, my stories are straight fun. Harlem Shake was inspired in part by the movie 2012, so that is a fun sci-fi story. But yeah, I wanted to have an impact on people, and I still think about that when I write sci-fi. And when I say have an impact on people, I actually believe low sci-fi is capable of being, or not even capable, I just think it is more impactful than the high scientific stuff. And people that work in corporate America should not necessarily hide those stories, because I think those stories are real cool. Now, in the effort to appease my son and shut my haters up, I was thinking, I need to write, a Children of Men. I need to write a Dune. I need to write a Foundation. And when I say these books, right, Dune is taken as a very serious science fiction book, even though it is fantasy, even though it is Star Wars, right? It is taken more serious than something like Star Wars. Then you take the Foundation, right? Foundation is a mathematician who calculates the ending of humanity based on where humanity is going, right? He predicts that humanity's civilized maturity will bring it to the brink of extinction in a certain amount of years based on crime statistics, birth rates, and all these other things. So he develops a group of space travelers who are going to colonize another habitable planet with humans and restart civilization so that way humans don't get extinct, and they do it in total ignorance of the people who are on this first Earth. So he's jumping from Earth to Earth, keeping civilization alive. And that's another science fiction book that is taken real serious. And it did a TV show on it. These are all like TV show stuff. The other one was Children of Men, you know. That's one of my favorite science fiction movies. And that one is where human or civilization has gone into negative birth rates, so much so that nobody's born anymore. The youngest person is 18 years old. And that is another good story. And so I was like, you know what? All of these science fiction stories have messages to them. So maybe I would write something like that. But I also think, you know, the fun stuff, the Terminator, the Matrix, right? That's not totally serious, still drops dimes and makes people think, you know. I don't even know if people know the direct message in the Matrix, but you got people talking about red pill, blue pill. You got people talking about stuck in the Matrix, right? You know, all of those things are sub messages in the Matrix, the movie. And I think those are progressive things to make people think about, right? I have a family member that, for the life of him, 40-something years old, he still can't get into the Matrix. And I never thought it was that deep. I was like, damn, I never thought of it as something that was more difficult than, you know, Total Recall to get into. But yeah, he can't get into it. So that too, you know, you have people that can't get into some of the deeper stuff and you still want to reach them. So I don't know. I just wanted to make, you know, drop some thoughts out here as a low sci-fi writer in defense of low sci-fi writing, you know, because I think, you know, it allows you to reach a broader audience. And the real goal is not to give them an instruction manual. Hell, you could do that with a documentary. You could do that with a nonfiction how-to book. But, you know, to drive people to the how-to book, to drive people to the documentary, you know, you start with fiction, you know, and low fiction at that. So I think low fiction reaches more people. Is there a reason to do the high sci-fi? Yeah, that's also too a good thing. And I'll explore some stories that I have that might be higher sci-fi. I mean, I love my Cannabis Man, and maybe I can make that a higher sci-fi. I have a Planet Parent Town story that I think is a beautiful has high sci-fi potential. So I'm going to see how to address my haters. But I wanted to put that out and get, you know, again, I do get comments, I do get feedback, I even get phone calls. People that know me will watch these videos and will actually pick up the phone and call me. But what I really want is, you know, subscribers. I want y'all to get down with this little thing that I started maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. That's going on a while. Let me not say that. And roll with me, but like, subscribe, share, and comment. All right? Touch base with you later. Jeff Carroll, Sci-Fi Express Lane out.